everybody, welcome to Schmel What's Cooking. Today we're going to be making focaccia. I'm going to show you a nice, easy way that you can do it in your home oven and get a bakery-like quality. Check it out. So we're going to do a really simple dough recipe here. I have 4 cups of King Arthur all-purpose flour. I have a 1/4 teaspoon of instant yeast, a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of diastatic malt powder. What this does is it serves as a nutrient for the yeast and lets the yeast work more efficiently. It's the technical term for it. It's used in brewing a lot. It's like a starch converter. I kind of act like I think it's like catnip for yeast. Then we're going to put in 2 cups of just room temperature water. And one of the big parts of the flavor here is going to be the slow fermentation of this. That's why we have a very small amount of yeast in it. That's going to be just kind of like making our no-knead ciabatta. We're going to add about a tablespoon of oil to it, olive oil, and give that a good stir. Alright, I just like to hop in there with my hand, and it's never going to actually we're not actually going to make it into a dough, so I'm just going to kind of squish it like this, very scientifically, just so I have all the flour wet. We're going to let yeast do its job here overnight, and let time be on our side. Alright, so there it is. It is wet and sticky. I am going to cover this up and let it rise for about 14 to 16 hours. So I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, welcome back. And it has been about 16 hours, and let's see what we got here. We got our big dough here. It's naturally fermented. Got a nice yeasty smell to it, and we are just going to flour our work surface. This is still going to be very sticky, so put down a generous amount of flour, and we're going to pull this out. And even without us doing any kneading, we've had all of our gluten develop naturally. So now we're just going to take it, make sure we get plenty of flour under our hands, and just kind of press it out. Press it out somewhat into a rectangular shape. And what you're going to see is, as you see right now, as I go to stretch it, it fights back. That's the gluten, which is good. That's what gives the bread its chew, its texture. Also makes it tougher to work with. So we're going to kind of let time be on our side here. So I have a 1/2 sheet pan. I'm going to put some olive oil on the bottom of it. Give that a good rub down here. take our dough and flop it on into our pan. And we're going to try to press it into the corners the best we can. They say, hey Dave, can you use this to make pizza? Yes. I use a variant of this to make my tomato pie. Just make the crust a little bit thinner. So there we go. And now I'm just going to cover this with another sheet pan and let it rest for about 15 minutes. Alright, so I've let this rest for just a couple minutes, and what that does is it gives that gluten a chance to chill out. So now I can get my dough all the way out into the side of my pan. That's really all you're doing there. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. So now we're going to let this rest and proof. It's going to rise again. We're going to let this rest for a good 2.5 hours. Alright, so we've given that some time. And you can see how our dough has risen up. So next we're going to give the focaccia its signature dimpled appearance, and you get to do this by playing with your food. So I'm just going to take my fingertips, get a little bit of olive oil on them so they don't stick. And I'm just going to press them in all the way down to the bottom of the pan. Almost like you're playing a piano. And get those dimples to form all the way down. Alright, now that we have that, we're going to season up our focaccia. I have my extra virgin olive oil, and I'm just going to liberally apply that. Looks really liberal, but it's probably only a couple tablespoons. I have some herb blend here. It's got some rosemary, some oregano, and be generous. Has some crushed red. Do a little bit of black pepper. And then just some powdered garlic here. I'm going to finish it off. I have some of the Himalayan sea salt, pink. Give it a little bit of a crunch. Also a lot of flavor. Alright. Now, in a commercial oven, this can be done very hot and the oven maintains a lot of heat and it really has good conductivity. Well, what we're going to do at home is this nifty little trick which I'm going to share with you here. Now you want to make sure you have a strong sheet pan. I get these from the restaurant supply store. They're very cheap. They're only like $5 each, but they're much heavier than your home ones. I have my stove here, both burners going. I'm going to put them on medium-low here. I'm just going to take my whole sheet pan and put it right on top. And we're just going to let this cook for about 5 minutes like this before it goes in the oven. And what that's going to do is going to kind of fry the dough on the bottom some first, so we have a good crust on the bottom and the top. Alright, so now I have it, I see my oil bubbling all the way around the outsides of my pan, so that means I'm ready to roll. I have my oven preheated at 500 and I'm going to put this right on in. So out of the oven it comes. That was probably about 15 or 20 minutes. But remember, it cooked for a little bit with that fry we had. And there we go. Easiest, most delicious focaccia you'll ever have. Alright, just to give you an idea what it turned out like. You can see the bottom crust here has a lot of color on it. That's what it looks like there on the top. Nice, dense texture, and you can make that. So there you go, focaccia. Thanks for watching.